The realtor's fingers brushed mine as he flipped the light switch, flooding the master bedroom with a warm, amber glow that made the dust motes dance like fireflies in hell. Imagine waking up here every morning. Dean, city lights twinkling like they're just for you, he murmured, his voice husky from too many open houses and not enough sleep. Stepping so close I could smell his cedar cologne mixed with the faint salt of San Francisco fog. But when he turned to grin at me, wallet tumbling from his pocket onto the hardwood floor, the photo that spilled out hit me like a freight train. My dead lover's arms slung possessively around his shoulders, both of them laughing under a Golden Gate sunset, a secret etched in faded ink that ripped open wounds I'd buried a year deep. I snatched it up before Carl could blink, my heart slamming against my ribs like it wanted out. "Who the fuck is this?" I demanded, thrusting the picture under his nose. Even though I knew God, I knew those blue eyes staring back from the frame belonged to Jamie. My Jamie, the man who'd promised forever on a rainy night in the Castro before a drunk driver stole him away. Carl's face drained of color, his broad shoulders sagging as he reached for the photo. But I yanked it back, the betrayal burning hotter than the July heat seeping through the cracked window. "Dean, wait. It's not what you think," he stammered, his realtor polish cracking like cheap veneer, eyes darting to the door as if escape was still an option. But I was already crumbling, the room spinning with ghosts. Jamie's laugh echoing off the crown molding, the phantom press of his body against mine on a bed that wasn't even ours yet. How could Carl, charming, straight-laced Carl with his easy smile and calloused hands from weekend carpentry, hold a piece of my shattered heart without me knowing? The truth clawed its way up my throat, choking me. I'd come here to rebuild, not to unearth the lie that Jamie had loved someone else all along. We'd met that morning at the creaky gate of this painted lady row house on Steiner Street, the kind of place that screamed old San Francisco money, turreted and gingerbread trimmed, with bay windows that framed the city like a postcard. I'd flown in from Seattle 2 days earlier, fleeing the damp ache of our old apartment where every corner still whispered Jamie's name. 32. I was starting over. New job as a graphic designer for a tech startup. New zip code. New everything. Except the grief. That stubborn bastard, which tagged along like an uninvited guest. Carl Riley, 38 and built like he benched, pressed his regrets, had been all professional handshakes and Midwestern charm when we connected through the app. "Call me Carl, no suits, just straight talk," he'd texted, attaching a headshot that made my stomach flip in a way I hadn't allowed since the funeral. "Divorced once. Out since college," he'd said in his bio, but I skimmed past that. Realtors were off limits. I was here for bricks and mortar, not sparks. He pulled up in a dusty Jeep Wrangler, khakis hugging his thighs just right, a faded giant's cap pulled low over hazel eyes that crinkled when he smiled. "Dean Hargrove? You look exactly like your profile pic." Lucky me, no catfish today. His laugh was easy, disarming, the kind that made you forget the traffic snarl on Divisadero. We toured the living room first, sunlight slanting across hardwood floors scarred by a century of footprints. He gestured broadly, painting pictures with words. "Picture Sunday brunches here, mimosas flowing, friends spilling out onto the stoop. Friends." The word stung. Jamie and I had talked about that life, hosting drag queen trivia nights, adopting a rescue mutt named something ironic like Sir Barks-a-Lot. But 6 months after the crash, our circle had evaporated, whispers of too soon and give him space turning into radio silence. I nodded, forcing a grin. "Sounds perfect. What's the kitchen like?" "I'm a disaster chef, but I fake it well." Carl's eyes lit up, leading me through French doors to a galley space with granite counters and a farmhouse sink. He leaned against the island, arms crossed, watching me poke at the sub-zero fridge. "You cook like I do, takeout connoisseur?" This place has delivery from every hole in the wall in the Mission on speed dial. There was a flirt in his tone, subtle as fog rolling in, but I caught it, ignored it, or tried to. As we climbed the wrought iron staircase to the second floor, the air thickened with possibility. The house felt alive, humming with stories, creaks in the floorboards like sighs, wallpaper peeling in patterns that mimicked heartbeats. Carl's hand grazed my elbow at the landing, steadying me on the uneven step. "Watch that riser. She's a sneaky one." His touch lingered a beat too long, warm through my chambray shirt, sending a jolt straight to places I'd locked down. "Damn it, Dean. Not now." The guest rooms blurred. Cozy nooks with clawfoot tubs and views of Alamo Square Park, where the ladies in their Technicolor coats picnicked like it was still 1990. But the master. God, the master was a revelation. Carl saved it for last, like foreplay in a slow-burn novel. He paused at the threshold, keyring jangling in his fist. "Ready for the grand finale?" I swallowed, nodding, as he pushed the door wide. The room unfolded like a secret. King bed centered against a brick accent wall, gauzy curtains billowing in the breeze from an open casement window. The scent hit me first, lavender and linen, faint but insistent, like a memory I couldn't place. Carl stepped inside, flipping on the overhead fan, its blades whispering overhead. 15-foot ceilings, original sconces. Feel that? It's got soul. Soul. Yeah. I wandered to the window, peering out at the patchwork of rooftops and distant bridge cables shrouded in haze. Jamie would have loved this view. He dragged me up Twin Peaks at dawn just to chase the light. "It's intimate," I said, voice catching. Carl moved behind me, close enough that his breath ghosted my neck. "Intimate's the goal. This is where life happens, Dean. The real stuff." He turned me gently by the shoulder, his hand sliding down my arm in a gesture that was anything but professional. Our eyes locked, and for a split second, the world narrowed to the flecks of gold in his irises, the faint scar above his lip from some boyhood scrape. My pulse thrummed, traitorous and alive. Then the wallet hit the floor. The photo fluttered out like a confetti of deceit. Jamie, mid-laugh, his arm hooked around Carl's neck, both shirtless on Baker Beach, the Pacific crashing wild behind them. It was from 2 summers ago, the trip Jamie and I took for our anniversary. He'd come back with sand in his duffel and a sunburn that peeled for weeks, swearing he'd hiked alone to clear his head. Lies. All of it. My knees buckled, but I caught myself on the bedpost, the carved oak biting into my palm. "You knew him. It wasn't a question." Carl's face crumpled, hands up in surrender as he dropped to one knee, scrambling for the wallet. "Dean, please." "How?" I shoved the photo at him, my voice cracking like thunder. "How the hell did you know Jamie?" He rocked back on his heels, defeated, the cap tumbling off to reveal sweat-dampened hair. "He was my client. 2 years back, before you two got serious. I showed him this house. Actually, we hit it off. Friends, nothing more. Then the accident." His words trailed, eyes glistening. But the photo screamed otherwise. Jamie's hand on Carl's bare chest. Proprietary, intimate. Friends didn't pose like that. "Liar," I whispered, chest heaving. The room closed in, walls pulsing with betrayal. I'd flown across the country to escape this, to build walls higher than the fog. But here it was, crashing back in the form of a man who just offered me a future on the bones of my past. I stormed for the door, photo clutched like a talisman, Carl's pleas chasing me down the stairs. Dean, wait, it's not. I didn't wait. Couldn't. Outside, the fog swallowed me whole, but the truth burned brighter. Jamie had secrets, and Carl held the key. And damn if that didn't make me want to burn it all down. The drive back to my Airbnb in No Valley was a blur, horns blaring, palms slick on the rental Prius wheel, the photo wedged in my visor like a bad omen. I blasted NPR to drown the questions, but they roared louder. Had Jamie cheated? Was Carl the late-night work call that kept him out till dawn? We'd met at a gallery opening in Pioneer Square. Jamie, the brooding photographer with ink-stained fingers and a smile that disarmed defenses I'd built since coming out at 22. 3 years of dive bar dates, road trips to Big Sur, whispered vows under star-pricked skies. Then the crash on I-5, rain-slicked asphalt and a semi that didn't brake. Paramedics said he went quick. I replayed it nightly, bargaining with ghosts for one more "I love you." By evening, I'd microwaved pad thai and cracked a bottle of Napa Cab, scrolling Zillow like a masochist. No more houses. No more Carl. But curiosity is a cruel mistress. A quick Google, Carl Riley Realtor San Francisco Jamie Ellis, yielded nothing but his LinkedIn, top seller at Bayview Properties, Eagle Scout, volunteer at the LGBT Center. Clean. Too clean. Sleep evaded me, the futon lumpy under my thrashing. At 2 a.m., caved, texting the number from his card. What else did he tell you? No response. Dawn broke gray, and still nothing. Fine. I confront him tomorrow, demand the listing keys back, maybe key his Jeep for good measure. But Carl showed up at 9, coffee tray in hand, knocking like he owned the stoop. Black. 2 sugars. Your poison from this morning. His eyes were bloodshot, jaw shadowed, but that grin flickered, defiant. Can we talk? Not as realtor and client. As people. I let him in, arms crossed, the photo on the coffee table like Exhibit A. He set the tray down, perching on the armchair's edge. That picture Baker Beach. Yeah. Jamie dragged me there after a showing. We were both hungover from Pride after parties. It was stupid, impulsive. A dare. Pose like lovers for the gram. Freak out the straights. He laughed it off. Deleted it from his phone. I kept it because it was a good day. Rare. You know? Rare how? I sipped the coffee, scalding my tongue, punishment fitting. He rubbed his neck, vulnerability cracking his facade. Jamie's friends with my ex, back in college. Small world. When he called about houses, it was like old times, beers after, venting about life. But you. He talked about you nonstop. Dean's the one, he'd say. Steady, like the tide. The words twisted like a knife. Steady. That's what I'd been. The reliable boyfriend, folding socks while Jamie chased sunsets with his lens. Then why the secrecy? Why not tell me you knew him? Carl leaned forward, elbows on knees. He swore me to it. Dean's private, doesn't like mixing worlds. And after the funeral, I saw your name in the obit, thought about reaching out. But what right did I have? A ghost from his past. Haunting yours. Haunting. Yeah. I paced the tiny living room, bare feet scuffing the sisal rug. It feels like betrayal, Carl. Like I was the fool in the fairy tale, blind to the Prince Charming next door. He stood, closing the distance, his hand hovering near my arm, asking permission. You're no fool. Jamie loved you. Fiercely. That photo, his pixels. Your life with him, that was real. Real enough to leave me hollow. I met his gaze, inches apart now, the air charged like before a storm. Prove it. Show me the house again. All of it. No filters. His nod was solemn. Deal. But on one condition, dinner after. My treat. Closure. Or whatever this becomes. Whatever this becomes. The words hung, tantalizing, terrifying. As we drove back to Steiner, the city unfolding in layers, trams clanging, street artists hawking pastels, I wondered if I was chasing ghosts or courting fire. The house waited, its windows like eyes, watching. Inside, the master felt different, less sanctuary, more confessional. Carl lingered in the doorway, giving me space. I traced the bed frame, imagining Jamie here, feet dangling, sketching Carl's profile in charcoal. Did he ever? I trailed off, cheeks burning. Sleep over? No. We weren't. Carl shook his head. Look, Dean, I lost my husband to cancer 5 years back. Slow, ugly. Watching someone fade. It hardens you. Jamie got that. We bonded over the wreckage. But it was never romantic. Not for me. The admission landed soft. A bridge over the chasm. I turned, finding him closer, his chest rising steady. Then what was the photo? A moment. Stolen. Like this one might be. His fingers brushed my jaw. Tentative. Electric. Time suspended, the whir of the fan. Distant foghorn moan. Until I leaned in, lips meeting his in a crash of need and forgiveness. It was brief. Searing, salt and coffee. Hands fisting shirts. The world tilting. Then reality intruded. A car alarm wail outside, and we broke apart, breathless. Shit, I muttered, stepping back. I can't. Not yet. Carl nodded. No pressure, just that quiet strength. Whenever you're ready. Or never. I'm here either way. We finished the tour in silence, signing papers by noon. The house was mine, ours? No, mine. But as Carl handed over the keys, our fingers tangled, promise lingering. That night, over crab cakes at Zuni Cafe, stories flowed like the house wine. Carl's ex, the architect who'd designed half the lofts in Soma, gone too soon. My Seattle days, coming out amid flannel and microbrews. Laughter crept in, tentative, then full-throated. By dessert, warm chocolate cake. Spoons clinking, he reached across the table. To new beginnings. And old ghosts laid to rest. I clinked back, heart lighter. But ghosts don't rest easy. At midnight, my phone buzzed. An email from Jamie's old studio, forwarding a drive of unsent files. Photos. Dozens. Including one of Baker Beach, not the pose, but Jamie alone, staring at the waves. Caption. Wishing I had the guts to tell Dean everything. Everything. The word echoed as I scrolled, dread pooling. What secrets had my lover taken to the grave? And what role did Carl play in them? The photos hit like aftershocks, each frame a tremor in the fragile piece I'd bartered for over crab and cake. Jamie's lens had always been his confessor, raw, unflinching, capturing the city's underbelly. Drag kings chain-smoking in alleyways, trans kids skating Dolores Park at dusk. The quiet devastation of a lover's goodbye etched in fogged glass. But these were personal, unfiltered. Him in our Seattle loft, curled on the couch with a tumbler of bourbon, eyes hollow, a selfie from the road trip, thumb smudged over my image in the passenger seat. And that beach shot, solitary, his back to the camera, shoulders bowed against the surf. The caption gnawed, guts. What needed courage? We'd fought. Sure. Petty shit like forgotten anniversaries or his wanderlust clashing with my need for roots. But nothing earth-shattering. Nothing that warranted this digital diary of doubt. I fired off a text to Carl at 1 a.m. Found photos. Jamie's. We need to talk. For real this time. Dots danced. Then, my place? 18th and Valencia. Doors open. No games. Just a dress and an emoji of a key ironic. Fitting. His apartment was a third-floor walk-up in the Mission. The kind of spot where murals bled into brick and Ticarius pumped out salsa rhythms till dawn. I buzzed up, heart hammering, clutching my phone like a shield. The door ajar, light spilling warm from a vintage lamp. Carl, in here. His voice from the bedroom, muffled. I pushed through, finding him cross-legged on the floor amid banker boxes, sleeves rolled to elbows, hair tousled like he'd been wrestling demons. Pull up a crate. You look like you saw a ghost. Worse. Jamie's. I sank onto a milk crate, passing the phone. He scrolled, jaw tightening with each swipe. When he reached the beach photo, he exhaled slow, like surfacing from depths. This was the day after our showing. He called me, hammered, said he needed to vent. Drove out there to meet him. Carl set the phone down, eyes meeting mine steady. Sorry. He was unraveling. Dean. Talked about you, how you deserved the whole world, but he felt stuck. Like he was dragging you down with his chaos. Stuck. The word landed like a slap. Jamie, the free spirit, pinned by my steadiness? I'd always chased his whirlwind, grateful for scraps of attention amid his exhibitions and escapades. Stuck how? He never said. Because he loved you too much to hurt you. Carl shifted, knee brushing mine. Accidental but electric. He told me about the doubts. The late nights editing alone. Feeling like an imposter in his own life. Not about you, about himself. Therapy was on the horizon, he swore. Then the crash. Therapy. Jamie had joked about it once. Over IPAs at Elliott Bay Book Company. Babe, my head's a darkroom. Need to develop some prints. I'd laughed, chalked it to artist's melancholy. Now it festered, a what-if abscess. And you? What did you tell him? Carl's laugh was bitter, self-deprecating. To fight for it. For you. I just closed on my divorce. Melissa, the college sweetheart who couldn't handle the gay phase turning permanent. I was raw. Preaching from the pews of fresh wounds. Don't run, Ellis. Face the light. Face the light. Jamie's mantra, scrawled on every print. I leaned back against the bed frame, the mattress sagging under invisible weight. So the photo, the pose, it was... What? Comic relief. Deflection. His specialty. Carl reached into a box, pulling out a dog-eared notebook, leather-bound and Jamie-scented, ink and sea salt. He left this with me that night. Said if anything happened, give it to you. I chickened out. Thought it'd hurt more. He pressed it into my hands, cover warm from his palm. I flipped it open, pages blooming with Jamie's scrawl. Sketches of my profile in repose, haikus about fog-shrouded kisses, confessions in the margins. Dean anchors me, but I'm adrift. Forgive the tide. My throat closed, tears blurring the ink. He was leaving me. No. Carl's hand covered mine. Firm, grounding. Planning to fix it. Last entry. Session with Dr. L tomorrow. Tell D everything, warts, wonders, the works. The accident was hours later. Hours. Cosmic joke. Universe's punchline. I traced the words. Sobs hitching silent. Carl pulled me into his side. Arm heavy across my shoulders. No words, just presence. Solid as the house we'd claimed. We stayed like that till dawn crept through slatted blinds. The notebook a bridge between us. Morning brought coffee, strong, black, and churros from the taqueria below, grease-soaked and sweet. We ate on his fire escape, legs dangling over the alley where murals of Aztec warriors guarded spray paint tags. This place, Carl gestured with a chao, it's got stories too. Bought it post-divorce, fixed it up solo. Therapy in hammers and paint. I nodded, licking sugar from fingers, the domesticity disarming. The Victorian, why sell? Transfer. Firm's opening a branch in LA. More sun, less fog. His grin faltered. But now, feels like bad timing. Timing. Always the thief. I set the notebook aside, its weight lifting fractionally. Show me LA sometime? Neutral ground. His eyes sparked, hope flickering. Deal. But first, housewarming? Make that bedroom yours. Ours. I almost said. Swallowed it. Instead, yeah. Let's. The weeks blurred into a rhythm. Contractors hammering crown molding. Carl hauling boxes up Steiner's stairs. Our evenings dissolving into wine-fueled unpacking. He'd crash on the couch some nights to supervise the chaos, but mornings found us tangled in the kitchen, bare feet on tile, debating avocado toast toppings like old lovers. The chemistry simmered, brushed knuckles over screwdrivers, lingering hugs goodbye, but I held back, Jamie's notebook a talisman on the nightstand. One Friday, fog thick as guilt, we painted the master. Drop cloths crinkled underfoot, rollers whispering blue-gray over eggshell walls. Carl, in paint-splattered overalls, dipped his brush with exaggerated flair. Your turn, Hargrove. Make it sing. I flicked paint at him, white flecking his cheek. He retaliated, chase ensuing till I backed against the bed, breathless, his body pinning mine. Truce, I gasped, but his gaze dropped to my lips, thumb smudging the streak on his face. No truce. He kissed me then, slow, deliberate, tasting of turpentine and promise. Hands roamed, shirts shed, the room alive with gasps and the slap of bare skin. We tumbled onto the half-painted mattress, urgency building like a wave, his mouth mapping scars I didn't know I wore. After, sweat cooled and sated, we lay staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin. This okay? He murmured, fingers tracing my hip. More than. I turned, kissing his collarbone. But Jamie would have wanted this. Carl propped on elbow. I soft. Life, Dean. Messy. Beautiful life. Beautiful. I believed him, in that haze. Believed us. But Saturday brought the storm. A knock at noon, Package for Mr. Ellis. Ms. delivered. Inside a USB drive, labeled for D unfinished. Jamie's voice, raw in audio files, confessions of burnout, resentment bubbling. Dean's too good, too patient. I don't deserve it. Carl gets it, the itch to run. Then, gut punch. If I bail, promise you'll look after him? You're steady, man. He needs that. Look after him. Carl, silent in the kitchen as I played it, face ashen. You knew. He nodded, slow. He made me swear. Thought it was hyperbole, drama queen mode. Hyperbole. Fury ignited, hot and holy. He was planning to leave me. For you? And you said nothing? No, God. No. Carl stepped forward, hands out. It was one conversation, drunk ramblings. He called the next day, sobbing apologies, recommitted. I buried it to protect you both. Protect. I hurled the drive at the wall, plastic cracking. You profited, sold me his dream house, played hero while hiding his goodbye. Dean. Stop. His voice broke, pleading. I fell for you that first showing. Real, not rebound. But the truth. It was a grenade. I disarmed it wrong. Grenade. Exploded now, shrapnel in my chest. I grabbed keys, storming into the fog, his shouts fading. The Castro streets swallowed me. Rainbow flags limp in drizzle, coffee shops spilling chatter I couldn't hear. Betrayal layered. Jamie's flight instinct, Carl's omission. Who was I, if not the fool they pitted? Hours later, soaked and shivering in a dive bar on 18th. Phone buzzed home. Please. Let's fix this. I stared at the ceiling, neon buzzing open, wondering if any of us ever truly were. The bar's jukebox crooned Springsteen, Thunder Road, all yearning and escape, mirroring the ache in my gut as I nursed a third IPA. The place was a relic. Vinyl stools cracked like old skin, bartenders with tattoos mapping forgotten wars, a clientele of grizzled queers nursing grudges and gin. I'd stumbled in after wandering hate's head shops, the fog turning to rain that slicked my hair and soaked my resolve. Carl's text burned in my pocket, unread till now. Home. Which one? The Victorian, half-painted and hopeful, or this limbo I'd built from half-truths? I typed back, not yet. Need air. Hit send, then deleted the thread. Clean slate, or illusion? Jamie's voice looped in my head. Look after him. Pity wrapped in vinyl grooves. Had our love been charity all along? Steady Dean. The safe harbor for wayward ships. I signaled for another round. The bartender, a silver fox with a lazy eye, sliding it over with a nod. Rough night, kid. The boss'll fix it. Boss. Carl's face flashed. That scarlip smile. Hands calloused from more than listings. Fallen for you. Real. Lies or lifeline? The door chimed, and there he was, rain-damp jacket, eyes scanning desperate. He spotted me, weaving through stools, dropping onto the one beside mine without a word. Ordered whiskey. Neat. Stalking now, I muttered, not looking up. Worried, he sipped, the burn etching lines around his mouth. You vanished. After everything. Everything. I laughed. Sharp. That's the problem, Carl. Your everything includes my dead boyfriend's escape plan. How long were you his confidant? His parachute? He set the glass down. Deliberate. 3 months. Tops. Started with house hunts, me pitching lofts. him dodging commitment, evolved to bar stools and bad advice. But Dean. His knee nudged mine under the scarred oak bar. It ended before you two got engaged. He chose you. Chose. Past tense. Mocking. I drained my glass, the hop bitterness lingering. Chose. Then chickened. And you? Playing guardian angel. Selling me the scene of his almost crime. Carl's hand found my forearm. Grip iron but kind. No crime. Just human. Jamie was a storm. Brilliant. Breaking. I envied that. Post-Matthew. My ex. He lingered. A slow poison. Jamie burned hot. Fast. But you're the afterglow. Afterglow. Poetic. Disarming. The jukebox shifted to KD. Lang. Her velvet ache filling the cracks. Why hide it? The notebook. The audio could have fronted. Fear. Simple. Stark. Of losing you before we started. Selfish. Yeah. But real. Real. The word anchored, pulling me from the undertow. I met his eyes. Rain-streaked face earnest in the low light. Prove it. All cards on the table. No more ghosts. He nodded, tossing bills on the bar. My truck. Drive. We rolled out into the downpour, wipers slapping rhythm on the windshield, city lights blurring to impressionist smears. Carl's place again. Fire escape slick. Churros long cold. Inside, he brewed tea chamomile, steaming, handing me a mug with a sheepish grin. Not whiskey, but it'll do. We settled on the couch, a thrift store relic sagging under us, knees touching. Ask away, he said, mug cradled like a shield. I did. Hours unraveled. Carl's Indiana boyhood, football fields and closet crushes, escape to SF via art school scholarship. Meeting Matthew at a gallery, building a life of blueprints and brunches till chemo hollowed him out. He died forgiving me for everything. Wish I could say the same. Jamie entered later, through mutual friends at the center. Vulnerable night, pride float breakdown, rain like biblical. We talked till sunrise. Harmless, harmless till Baker. The pose? His idea. Live a little, he said. I laughed, snapped it. Regretted when he ghosted post-engagement. Ghosted. Echoing my grief. And me? The showing. Did you know then? Guessed. Your last name rang bells. Played dumb. Shame colored his cheeks. Worst call. Worst. But honest. Dawn pinked the blinds. Tea cold. I need time, I whispered, exhaustion heavy. To process. Take it. He kissed my forehead. Chaste. Steady. Doors open. Always. I left with the notebook and drive. Rain easing to mist. Back at the Airbnb, eviction notice pending house closing, I dove deep. Jamie's files, emails to therapists, unsent letters to me. I love you, but I'm scared. The darkness. It's winning. No mentions of Carl as lover, just friend. Anchor. The audio's plea? Drunken hyperbole, corroborated by a follow-up text to Carl. Forget last night. Dean's my North Star. North Star. Flawed. Flickering. But mine. Relief washed. Bittersweet. Betrayal diluted to misunderstanding. Carl's omission a scar. Not stab wound. Midweek. The office grind pulled. Pixel pushing for app interfaces. Coffee runs with new colleagues. Diverse. Vibrant. a far cry from Seattle's chill. Housewarming soon? My boss, Lena, a dyke with a buzz cut and killer intuition, nudged over Slack. Soon, I typed back, attaching a paint swatch. Blue-gray, like Carl's eyes. That night, impulse won. I drove to Steiner, keys jangling new. The master waited, half-finished, walls streaked, bed unmade from our tumble. I texted a photo, your mess. Fix it, his reply, on my way. Pizza, we painted till midnight, rollers flying, laughter echoing off fresh coats. No deep dives just now, the swipe of bristles, the press of bodies passing in tight spaces. When the last wall gleamed, we collapsed on the drop cloth, pizza box between us, grease-slick fingers intertwining. You're staying? I asked, sauce on his chin. If you'll have me, vulnerability, bro. I wiped it away, thumb lingering. Try and leave, the kiss ignited slow, building to blaze, hands exploring, clothes shedding like old skin. In the master, finally ours, we moved with intention, whispers of names, bodies sinking like tides. After, tangled in sheets that smelled of us, Carl traced my spine. No more secrets? Promise. I sealed it with a kiss, believing. But promises fracture. Friday, a call from Jamie's estate lawyer, unclaimed asset. Storage unit in Oakland. Mr. Ellis's effects. The word chilled. I went alone, Carl at a closing. The unit yawned dim, boxes labeled gear, prints, dust motes swirling like accusations. Rifling through, lenses, tripods, a journal I hadn't seen. Pages fell open to dated entries. C doubts us. Says I'm selfish. He's right. C. Carl, heart stuttered. Called C tonight, old friend. Gets the itch. Told him about the plan, therapy, then propose. He laughed, said I'm crazy. Good crazy. Not betrayal. Brotherhood. Relief surged. Then suspicion, why hide? Deeper. C knows my secret. The one that could end it all. Secret. Flipped pages frantic. The affair. One night, Portland shoot. Bartender. Regret instant. D can't know would shatter him. Affair. Not Carl. Anonymous. My knees buckled. Journal thumping concrete. Jamie. Unfaithful not to Carl, but a stranger. The crash's shadow lengthened. Guilt. Unspoken. Fueling his doubts. I drove to Carl's closing, bursting in mid-signature. He cheated. Not with you, with someone else. Clients gawked. Carl paled, ushering me to the hall. Dean, you knew. Accusation sharp. He deflated. Suspected. Portland story vague. Ashamed. Swore me to silence. Protect him. Again. Protect. The word soured. I'm not glass. Carl. I could have helped. Would you? Gentle probe. Back then. Maybe not. Grief's lens warps. I sagged against the wall. Sobs racking. Everyone lied. For my good. Not me. Not anymore. He pulled me close. Lobby be damned, colleagues averting eyes. We're truth now. You and me. Truth. Battered. But ours. We left arm in arm. The city forgiving in golden hour. The revelation settled like sediment in a shaken snow globe. Swirling chaos giving way to crystalline clarity. Fragile but fierce. Saturday. We skipped errands for Golden Gate Park. Blankets spread under cypress. Picnic of In-N-Out procured illicitly, Carl's guilty pleasure. Don't tell the vegans. Tourists milled. Kite strings slicing blue sky. But our bubble held, his head in my lap, fingers carding through sun-warmed hair as I read Jamie's journal aloud, voice steadying with each page. The Portland thing. It guts me, I admitted, closing the cover. A red-tailed hawk wheeled overhead, cry piercing. But knowing it wasn't you, that's air. Carl sat up, grass staining his jeans. Air's good. Builds wings. He kissed my palm, eyes crinkling. Fly with me? LA next month. Firm's got a condo. Scouted as us. The word bloomed, tentative. Yeah. Wings sound right. Wings clipped soon after. Monday. Lena cornered me in the break room. Heard whispers. Your Realtor beau solid. Her grin was wolfish. Protective. Solidish. I stirred oat milk into espresso. Steam curling confessional. Baggage heavier than mine. She leaned on the Keurig. Arms crossed. Baggage is currency here. Trade wisely. Wisdom from her own scars. Ex-wife. Custody wars. Invite him to the team hike. Vetting via redwoods. The hike, Marin headlands, fog tendrils snaking cliffs, tested us. Carl charmed the crew. Trail mix shared with the intern. Bad puns eliciting groans from the dev lead. But on the summit, wind-whipped and alone, doubt crested. They like you, I said, binoculars scanning Alcatraz's silhouette. You, he turned, hopeful. Love you, slipped out. Rough. His whoop echoed, pulling me into a spin hug, salt air and sweat mingling. Back home. Steiner now home. Intimacy deepened. Lazy Sundays in the tub. Bubbles foaming as we mapped tattoos. His anchor from Matthew. Mine a compass rose for Jamie. Nights. The master claimed. Slow explorations. Laughter punctuating moans. Carl's whispers. Beautiful. Steady Dean. Eroding walls. Yet cracks spidered. Mid-October. Carl's transfer loomed. Packing boxes infiltrating our space. LA brochures on the fridge like taunts. 6 months trial. He soothed over takeout foe. Steam veiling regret. Then reassess. Reassess. Corporate euphemism for maybe forever apart. I nodded. Chopsticks spearing noodles viciously. And if it sticks? Long-distance queers. Doomed rom-com trope. Won't. His foot hooked mine under the table. You're my north. Remember. North. Jamie's echo. Repurposed. Comforting. Haunting. The bomb dropped November 1st. Voicemail from Carl's boss. Overheard on speaker. Riley LA's a go. But permanent. Congrats. Top earner. Click. He stared at the phone. Face blank. Then crumpled, shoulders shaking. Silent sobs I hadn't seen since our bar confessional. Carl. I knelt. Arms circling. Talk. Should have told you sooner. Voice muffled in my neck. Knew last week. Hoped. Delay. Delay. Another lie. Small but seismic. Why? Afraid I'd bolt. Yes. Raw. You're building here, job. Friends. LA's my mess. Chasing ghosts of commissions. Ghosts. Multiplied now. I pulled back. Searching his face, hazel depth stormy. Then stay. Fuck the firm. Can't. Bitter laugh. Matthew's settlement debts. This pays them off. Debts. unspoken anchor. We could have figured. Together. He cupped my face, thumb tracing jaw. That's the dream. But reality's a bitch. Bitch. Indeed. We made love that night fierce, desperate, nails raking, hips bruising, reclaiming what distance threatened. After, tangled, he murmured, visit weekends. Make it work. Work. The verb of survival. Promise. Echoed. Vulnerable. Promise. Sealed in darkness. But promises erode. Week 1 post-move. Texts sporadic. Calls cut by closings. Traffic hell, he'd apologize. Voice tinny over FaceTime. Week 2. A photo him at Venice Beach. Boardwalk bustle. Caption missing our fog. Heart emoji. Mine. The Victorian's empty master. Wings clipped. By Thanksgiving. Strain snapped. He flew up. Turkey at my sister's in Oakland. Awkward integration. Her eyeing him like produce. Too polished, she whispered post-pie. Kids crashing Legos. Jamie's were rugged. Rugged died. I defended. Sharp. Carl's real. Real enough for furtive airport goodbyes. His hand squeezing mine at security. Christmas, your call. My call. Echoed as I drove home alone. Radio crooning Mariah. Lights blurring. The house felt cavernous. Echoes in halls. Bed cold. I dove into work. Lena promoting me to lead on a rebrand. Distraction in deadlines. Nights. Jamie's journal mocked from the shelf. Don't settle for safety. D. Chase the storm. Storm. Carl was that. Rumbly. Electric. But lightning strikes solo. December crept. Fog festive with twinkles. Carl's gifts arrived. A leather-bound sketchpad. For your designs and our future. I reciprocated. Custom wallet. Monogrammed. Sans incriminating photos. Call on the 24th. Flying in tomorrow. Surprise. Surprise. Heart leaped. Yes. He arrived eve's dusk. Airport run yielding him rumpled. Grinning. Armful of ornaments. We trimmed the tree. Flocked noble in the living room. Strings of lights casting halos. His stories of LA's glitz. Queer as a $3 bill WeHo's wild. Drawing laughs. Midnight mass skipped for mulled wine by the fire. His head on my shoulder. Whispers of missed this. Missed you. Truth. Aching. Boxing Day. We hiked Land's End. Cliffs crumbling to sea. Sutro baths ruined skeletal. At the labyrinth. Stone spirals etched in grass. He dropped to one knee. Not proposal. But plea. Come with me. Full time. SF's got branches. Transfer. Transfer. My job. Roots tangled. Lean'd kill me. And the house. Sell. Sublet. Whatever. I's pleading. Us. Dean. Prioritize. Prioritize. The word ward loyalty to ghosts. Or leap to living. Need to think. Think. He nodded. Masking hurt. The hike home silence save wave crash. Climax brewed that night. Dinner at foreign cinema. Projections flickering on brick. Oysters sharp as regret. Over creme brulee. He pushed. What's to think? Jamie'd say go. Jamie. Invocation like salt. Don't. You don't get to wield him. Wield. Voice rising. Heads turning. I'm fighting for us. Fighting. I hissed. Fork clattering. By deciding solo? Like the transfer. Like hiding his secrets. Old wound reopened. Festering. That again. His chair scraped back. I've owned it, therapy. Amends. What more? Presents. Tears pricked. Public sting. Not crumbs from 400 miles away. Crickets in the din. He softened, hand over mine. Then come. Or I quit. Move back. Quit. Dramatic. Desperate. For me, that's not love. It's cage. Cage. The word hung, shattering. We paid. Stormed to the jeep in silence. Rain resuming biblical. The Steiner. Bags unpacked wordless. Bed that night. Backs turned. Chasm wide. Dawn. He was gone, note on counter, coffee's brewing. Talk when ready. Love. See. Love. First utterance. Timed like tragedy. I called Lena. Transfer possible? Her whoop deafened. Knew it. LA's hotter than a jalapeno popper. Hotter. Maybe. But as I packed, journals boxed. Jamie's lens donated to the center, doubt gnawed. Was this chase? Or flight? Carl's flight waited. Mine. Metaphorical. Airport reunion, him at arrivals. Sign scrawled North Star awaits. I ran. Colliding. Kiss salty with relief. LA it is. His grin split sun. Our storm. Storm. Brewing still. LA hit like a fever dream. Palm fronds rattling in Santa Ana winds. Sun relentless. Bleaching doubts to sepia. We sublet a bungalow in Silver Lake. Mid-century bones. Avocado sink glowing chartreuse. Reservoir view winking like a coquette. Carl's transfer smoothed mine. Lena's blessing came with a promotion bump. Lead remote. Babe. Own it. The firm welcomed him back triumphant. Closings stacking like poker chips. Unpacking became ritual. His tools mingling with my sketchpads. Matthew's old records spinning jazz on the turntable beside Jamie's prints. Curated. Not haunting. We hung the Baker photo. Reframed. Not betrayal, but artifact. To history, Carl toasted that first night. Mezcal shots burning sweet. History layered quick. Weekends. Griffith Observatory hikes. His hand in mine atop the dome. City sprawl humbled below. Bigger than SF, he murmured. Telescope framing stars. But you're my galaxy. Galaxy. Corny. Cherished. Nights. The bungalow thrummed. Candlelit dinners of poke bowls on the patio. His laughter booming over bad karaoke. My rendition of Tiny Dancer eliciting pleas for mercy. Intimacy flowered. Lazy mornings tracing freckles. Evenings where touches lingered. Building to symphonies of sighs. Steady, he'd whisper post-climax. As if mantra. My steady, steady. Reclaimed. No longer chain. Yet undercurrents tugged. January's chill. Rare. Biting. Brought Carl's ex's sister to town. Closure brunch, he explained. Uneasy. At Earth Cafe. She arrived polished. Venomous. Heard you're the rebound. Careful, Carl collects strays. Strays. The word lodged. Festering. Carl shut her down. Ancient history. Viv. But her barb hooked. Was I rebound? Post Matthew. Post Jamie, scars scabbing. Not sealed. I probed that night. Over Netflix. Broke back. Ill-advised. Her words. They stick. He paused the screen. Ennis's regret frozen. Viv's bitter. Matthew's death fractured her. You're no stray. Dean. You're home. Home. The bungalow felt it. Our mugs chipped matching. Fridge stocked with his IPA and my kombucha. But February's full moon brought tide. A call from SF household. Proceeds wiring. Fresh start funds, the agent chirped. Fresh. I stared at the check. Phantom echoes of Steiner's creaks. Carl sensed the drift. Road trip? Big sir, reclaim the coast. Reclaim. We packed the Jeep. Winding Highway 1. Cliffs plunging turquoise. Elephant seals bellowing like judgment. At Pfeiffer Beach. Purple sands gritty underfoot. We stripped to swimsuits. Waves nipping ankles. Remember Jamie's stories? I asked. Foam swirling. Always. He tugged me deeper. Salt shocking. But this us it's now. Now. We body surfed till pruned. Collapsing on towels. Sun baking skin. That night. In a cliffside cabin, fire crackling. Ocean roar lullaby, we made love with reverence. Slow grinds. I locked. His name a prayer on my lips. Forever? He gasped, cresting. Forever, echoed. Earnest. March-tested vows. Carl's firm imploded. A merger gone sour. Layoffs slashing. 6 months severance. He shrugged over Thai takeout. But shadows lingered, late nights job hunting. Jaw clenched at rejections. Indies calling, family firm. Steady gig. Indie. Midwest Maw. We just landed. I know. His hand trembled on mine. But stability for us. Stability. My old cage. Repackaged. Or freelance here. SF connections. LA's fickle. Defeat edged. Don't want you slumming. Slumming. Echo of Viv. Us against the world. Remember. World. Shrinking. Arguments simmered. My freelance gigs booming, rebrand for a queer nonprofit. Billboards blooming. His pride pricking. Don't need saving, he'd snap. Retreating to the garage woodworking escape. Shavings like confetti of frustration. Climax crested April's end. His offer letter from Riley Realty Indy. 6 figures. Corner office. Visit first, he proposed. Dinner at Yamashiro, cherry blossoms shedding like tears. Test the waters. Waters. Murky. I flew solo. Heart-leaden. Flat Indiana streets. His parents colonial stiff with doilies. Family dinner probing. Graphic design? Artsy. Ha! Carl beamed. But I choked on casserole. Fog sick for palms. Back in LA. Confrontation brewed. It's you or them, I said. Bungalow dim. Suitcase unzipped like a wound. Him. Hurt flashed. Family's blood. Matthew died without his. Won't repeat. Blood. Unbreakable? And us? Water. Evaporating. No. He crossed. Arms banding. Fight for it. Like Jamie wished. Jamie. Weaponized again. Fury ignited. Stop. He bailed literally. Don't saint him. Saint. Voice cracking. I loved him as friend. You as everything. But roots. Dean Needham. Roots. Mine tangled in coasts. His in heartland clay. Then dig here. Or lose me. Ultimatum. Ugly. Silence stretched. Then fracture. Maybe. Space. Space. The void. He left for a hotel. Think. Scrawled on a post-it. Days blurred, work autopilot. Friends pity texts. He'll come around. Nights. Bungalow echoing. I unearthed Jamie's compass tattoo sketch. Navigate true. True north? Week 2. Carl returned. Not with bags. But blueprints. Quit indie. Freelance realtor LA base. Your roots are mine now. Mine. Tears hot. Scared me. Scared myself. He knelt. Ring box improbable, simple band. Tungsten etched with coordinates. Our first kiss latitude. Marry me? Build. Not chase. Build. Human. Hopeful. Yes. Kiss sealed. Messy with relief. Wedding was June, courthouse quick. Silver Lake stoop reception. Lena DJing Gaga remixes. Friends toasting with horchata margaritas. Vows. Through betrayals. Truths. Storms. I choose you. Storms past. October marked a year. Promotion to creative director. Carl's Flips netting boutique empire. We adopted Milo the mutt. Ironic name sticking. His snore punctuating our master. Now muraled with Jamie's donated prints. Matthew's record spinning. One fogless eve. Reservoir glittering. Carl raised a glass. To life messy. Ours. Humanistic grace. Love not erasure, but evolution honoring losses. Forging ahead. Betrayals scarred, but healed. Truths liberated. In America's sprawl, from SF spires to LA lights, we found harbor. Steady, storm ready. And in the quiet, Jamie's voice whispered faint. Guts, D. You had 'em all along.